hat. I want to tell you about it real quick before we get into this video. So when my kids were little, I had an event. I used to be my daughter's Girl Scout troop leader. And I had an event. I think we had a Halloween party actually. And I complimented a lady on this hat. I said, because I had never seen one with feathers. I think we see them more now, but you know, it used to be sort of, you know, these sorts of hats were sort of just kind of plain. But I was just surprised that it was so, you know, it's got feathers on it, and you know, it's got this stuff on it, and I just thought it was kind of neat. So I said, "Wow, your hat's really pretty." She took it right off her head and she said, "Here, you can have it." And I said, "Well, no, no." And she says, "No, really, I want you to have it." And I said, "Well, okay." So I've had it ever since. And so I thought I would share that little story with you. Yeah, so here it is. Andrew's in the background. He's over there having a little snack. We just had lunch. So anyway, friends, this is part 4. Let's see, let me fix this up. This is part 4 of our Halloween journal that we are creating because we've already done the giveaway draw. I will add parts 1 through 3 into my description box. I appreciate you spending some time with me, listening to my hat story and crafting along. Friends, I am voicing over this video. It is Tuesday, September 27th, and I figured I wanted to do some editing in advance and scheduling in advance because we are expecting a hurricane, and I wanted to just have some stuff scheduled and uploaded. If I'm not present on YouTube, it is because I do not have power, and I do expect that to be accurate. I live in Clearwater, which is west of Tampa, and I'm somewhat near the coast, so I do think that it's highly probable that we will lose power. And it could be anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, depending on the severity of the storm. And of course, I am hoping and praying that it's not super severe. But I got up this morning hoping that when I looked at the Weather Channel, something might have changed for the positive, and it hasn't. So, you know, we just have to be prepared for whatever it might bring. So I just wanted to let you guys know that if I'm not present on YouTube, that would be why. Today's Tuesday. I don't expect that we would lose power for a long period of time until tomorrow, being Wednesday, and then after that it's anybody's guess. And then restoration services would start to take place, and you know, we might get lucky and get it back on quickly, and we might not get lucky and it might be a while. So that's the update of what is going on here. So that would tell you that I have obviously shot this video here where I'm working on the journal, which has been such a fun project. I worked on this about 4 days ago probably, and so I'm voicing over. What we're doing in this video is we're going to start adding some details to the journal, similar to what we did in the last video. In video 1 and 2, we got our materials pulled together, we got our pockets put in, our belly bands, a couple of flips, and now we are starting to add details. I want to give a shout out to everybody who contributed Halloween goodies to this journal. I am using goodies from Leanna It's a Deal, Yvonne B, CraftingWithFury, Suzanne Reid, and Tina McCall. Thank you, ladies. And of course, I am using stuff from my stash. And actually, sitting on my table here in this part of the video, that piece that has the anatomy on it, that was given to me by my friend V. Wills of V. Wills Designs.
And the envelope that I just adhered to the page was given to me by my friend Marie at Hope Vintage Sales. I hope you are all doing wonderfully. I do hope that if you are in the path of the storm, that you are prepared and that you will be safe, and I will be sending out prayers to everyone. And I will do my best to keep you guys posted to how we're doing over here. So let's go ahead and work on putting this piece of ephemera in the journal. I've just glued on the piece with the anatomy on it, and now I'm cutting to size a piece of it looks like cardboard, but it's like cardstock that just looks like cardboard. So I'm going to add that on there just for a little space for either writing or a photograph could be mounted to it. When I'm creating a journal, I enjoy using the offcuts that come from the paper that I'm working with, and I'll spread those throughout the journal, which helps to create some cohesiveness. And as you guys know, we used some of my gray dyed papers in the journal. Well, sometimes when you make papers, they tear, and that's what happened to this paper. So instead of discarding the tear, I decided I would go ahead and use it on this page. Now, Leanna had sent me some bags. She actually sent me 2 bags, and I've decided that instead of putting them in the journal as whole bags, I decided since they were so cute, I would go ahead and work with the images on them. So I am tearing them to size, and I'm going to use this one on the front of this vintage envelope. This is looking pretty cute, and I've decided that I don't want the tippy top of that house of the haunted mansion to go to waste, so I tore it off because I wanted the window to show through. But I'm going to go ahead and end up gluing that underneath the window. In the last video, we put 3 pockets on a page. That's coming up next once I finish this one. And we didn't embellish them at all. So I want to go ahead and take some of the scraps from the bag that Leanna gave me, and I want to decorate some of these pockets with it. This is the page that has the 3 pockets that I made from one piece of, it looks like cardboard, and I guess it is, but it's just really thin cardboard, so it feels more like cardstock. But at any rate, I had that in my stash, and so let's go ahead and decorate those up. And I think I will definitely end up putting a tag in each one of these pockets. As I mentioned in my previous video, I am using ink, in order to ink the edges, sort of distress them. I'm using ink from my markers because I have, basically every color in the rainbow, including this bright green. And so I'm using markers, and I wanted to mention to you guys that you can do that too. If you don't have ink pads or you don't have the color that you want, just use some markers that you might have in your house. As you can see, I am tearing these bits of paper to size. I personally like a torn edge. I think also when you ink it or add the marker distressing to it, it absorbs it better because the edges are sort of jagged and it just seeps in there a little bit better, and so you end up with a better looking image. Now, if you like things super crisp and clean, then you might not enjoy tearing. But especially for a journal like this, I like to have some tattered edges. For the third pocket, I have decided I want to go ahead and use fabric, and I have this cute little skull and crossbones fabric. It's just black and white, nice and basic, but it goes great in this journal. So we're just going to use a piece of that to cover this top pocket. I have a sparkly bat embellishment. It is black, and I think I'm going to go ahead and add that as well. I mentioned before how I like to use my scraps on other pages to sort of pull things together, and this is the corner that I cut off of the fabric that is, you know, on that pocket, and so why not use it? I'm going to take it, put it up in the corner of this eco-dyed piece of paper, and that sort of pulls the whole spread together. Now I'm going to flip through the pages and see what inspires me next. I don't always go in order. I'm an intuitive creator, and so I really go by how I feel in the moment. And so if I'm flipping through and I see something that strikes me and inspires me, then I'll stop there and create on it. And if not, I just keep on going. So I've decided that I want to work with this orange page, and because it already has some bones on it, there's a hand that goes across, and this is a 12 by 12 paper pack that I'm working with, and on the other side of this orange page, you see the more full skeleton. So the hand is coming across, so I think it will be cute to use another bag that Leanna sent me. My plan is to remove the bottom, cut open the sides, and place it on the page so that it can be written on, but have the skeleton be the part that you open up. So you'll flip it open and then have the insides to write on. I am going to tear and cut this to size so that I can make it fit on the orange page. And I am also going to ink the edges with the green marker that I've been using. I'm hoping that Tony has a gel pen. I'm thinking she probably does. So I'm going to use some black scrapbook paper here. I'm adhering that onto this green and black paper, and the green and black paper has a little bit of like that velvety feeling. The black is all like that velvet, so I am using my 3-in-1 to make sure that I get good adhesion on that. I'd like to dress that up a little bit, so I am going to use some more of this mesh that Leanna sent me, and it's got some colorful stars on it, so I think that'll look really great. And I'm just going to adhere it to the part that it's got like that little flap there, so I'm going to adhere it to that. Obviously I'm going to need to add some sort of embellishment. I have a few choices. I've got a bat, I have a spider web, and I also have some other fabric that I could layer on top of it. Ultimately, I decide to go with some orange fabric, and that orange fabric was given to me by Yvonne. Thank you, Yvonne. And I like it on here because it matches the pumpkin that's on the envelope that's right above it. It really helps to pull the entire page together. I've decided actually that I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of my eco-dyed paper to the black cardstock, and that'll also bring some green in, and then everything will just work really nicely together. As always, I'm doing some tearing. It gives it a nice textured look. I like that, especially in a journal like this. There's a lot of color going on, there's a lot of texture going on. It adds a lot of interest, so I like that. On this page, I want to go ahead and make a page flip. So I am going to use the other side of one of the bags. And as you can see, I'm going around the edges with the green marker. This hides any white that might be showing. And repeatedly using the same color marker is another step towards bringing everything together to make it work together. I have some paper here that actually I bought a notebook, and I shared it on a Thrifty Thursday, and the papers inside of it are great. They're already a cream color, which is wonderful. Up in the upper right hand corner there is a spot for the date, which I think is fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I'll be using those throughout this journal, but in other journals as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add it here, and then I'm going to put the bag over top of it so it's nice little paper flip. Just a little reminder, these pages we're doing more details to them right now, but they are not done by any stretch of the imagination. I'll end up going back through and adding more embellishments to give them a truly finished look. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that. This paper here was given to me by Diane of CraftingWithFury, and I am going to use it to create a side pocket, and then I'm going to use a piece of it to create the tab at the bottom. I create those tabs to hold tags or papers in place. They come in very handy, especially when you have like a little side pocket like this. It keeps stuff from sliding around too much. So it's something I have implemented in my journals now, and they're quite handy, and I do think it makes the loose papers much more secure. In order to tie the spread together, I'm going to use a matching piece on the other side. I will be adding some more of my eco-dyed paper on top of this orange piece over here. Again, tearing the edges, but this time I'm going to go ahead and ink this with my ink pad, and I'm using the color Espresso, and I tend to use this color a lot. It's brown and it just works on a variety of different projects, so I'm really glad I have it. I'm actually probably going to run out soon, so I have to think about getting more. I think it's probably the most popular one that I use. I absolutely love how this green piece of fabric, it's very sheer as you can see. I love how it looks in the journal. I think this was given to me by my friend Carol at Carol's Recrafted Boutique. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Recrafted by Carol. She has a new name. So I just love it. But of course I want to embellish it. I don't want it just, hanging here in the journal all by its lonesome. So on top of it, I am attaching a piece of black paper, but it's velvet on this one side, and I just love it. And then I think on top of that, I'm going to go ahead and put either a bat or a skeleton. I'm trying them out now. I'm so sorry it's off camera. This journal is so tall, it's actually hard to get it all in the camera frame. But I settled on the skull, as you can see, and I just think that looks great. I've decided on this page I want to create 3 pockets. So the book page is already adhered. We did that the other day. Now I'm going to use this piece of black cardstock to make the second pocket. And you saw I went around it with the green. Again, sometimes with cardstock when you cut it, the white shows through. I actually originally purchased this cardstock at Walmart, so I don't think it's a high quality cardstock, and I probably will bump that up the next batch I get. I think I'm going to go for a higher quality so that when I cut it, it's the same color through and through. But at any rate, not to get into all that, I just was mentioning why I had to ink the edges. And I'm going to take this card that I have. This was in my stash. I'm going to take that and I am going to adhere that also to the black cardstock, and that's going to create the third pocket. You saw that I sanded the edge of it because cards are shiny, so I always am concerned when I'm working with anything that's actually shiny. I'm concerned about it staying adhered over the long haul. So if you just take and you use a little sandpaper, or you can get a sanding block that you get from, the beauty supply store or something. It's the same thing, it's all sandpaper, and just sand it up a little bit and then it'll hold for a longer time. Remember the 3-tiered pocket that we adhered the other day? Well, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and embellish that with a napkin, and I cannot remember if I recorded my process, and my battery is going to run out in a few seconds here, so I am wrapping this video up right here, right now. Friends, I always appreciate you spending time with me. Thanks for watching. See you soon.